All right, let's get right into it. We are talking about one of the most explosive and frankly most important industries on the entire planet. But behind all the multi-billion-dollar factories and the absolutely mind-bending technology, there's a fundamental trillion-dollar question. And for investors, the answer to that question is where the real opportunity is hiding. So let's just start with a number. A really, really big number. According to a major report from PwC, the global semiconductor market is on an absolute tear. It's projected to rocket past $1 trillion by 2030. Think about that. That's up from $600 billion today. That is an unbelievable expansion in a very short amount of time.
And this, right here, is the crucial point. A trillion-dollar industry doesn't just appear out of thin air, right? You need a huge, highly skilled workforce, technicians and specialists who can actually operate the most advanced manufacturing facilities ever created by humans. So the simple question is, who is going to do that work?
Now, that trillion-dollar question, it gets a lot more urgent when you zoom in on the United States, because while the industry's growth is global, the race to build is accelerating fastest right here, and that's creating an unprecedented demand for skilled workers, and a massive gap between the jobs available and the people who are actually qualified to fill them.
I mean, just look at the raw speed of this push in America. This PwC data shows the U.S. market is growing at a compound annual rate of almost 13%. We're not just talking about outpacing the global average. We're talking about leaving the competition in the dust. The race for semiconductor supremacy is happening right here, right now.
And you have to understand, this isn't some accident. This surge is a deliberate, strategic move. It's being driven by massive global forces, geopolitical tensions, the desperate need for resilient supply chains, huge government investments, and this national push for technology sovereignty. We're bringing a critical industry back home, which means we have to bring the talent back home too.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got a trillion-dollar market that's facing a massive bottleneck, especially right here in the US. Now, for investors, a problem this big always points to an equally big opportunity. So, let's talk about the solution.
Meet Roots Education. Their entire company, their whole reason for being is built to solve this exact problem. And their motto really says it all. We innovate to educate. They're not just another training program, they are a direct answer to a huge failure in the market.
And this right here is their mission. It's a powerful, direct value proposition, bridging the talent gap to power the workforce of tomorrow. It's the answer to that question we started with. They are literally building the builders.
So how do they do it? Well, their whole approach is built on three key ideas. It's built by students and designed by educators, so it's intuitive. But honestly, the most critical pillar, especially for an investor, is that third one. It's heavily influenced by industry. That means every single skill they teach is exactly what these billion-dollar companies are desperate to hire right now.
Okay, so that's the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. Talk is cheap, right? Let's look at the actual proof and see how they forge a real workforce that can step right into these high-tech facilities.
Let's make this really concrete. Talent can be a vague word. We're talking about specific, critical roles, like a process technician. These are the folks on the front lines, the people who are hands-on, operating and maintaining the incredibly complex equipment inside a chip factory. They're the backbone.
And it's not just one role. Look at this. They're building out the entire talent pipeline. Everything from process techs to equipment maintenance, even specialists in metrology and automation. And notice the certifications. This is so important. Their graduates walk out with industry-recognized credentials that employers trust from day one.
So the big question is, how do you actually teach this stuff? I mean, you can't learn how to operate a multi-million-dollar plasma etcher from a textbook. To create a workforce for the real world, you absolutely have to train them on real-world tools.
And this is where it gets really cool. Just look at the breakdown of their physical training systems. This is not some computer lab. 26% is dedicated to reactive plasma etch. That's how you carve the circuits. 19% for photolithography. That's how you print them. They even have a simulated clean room environment. These are the core hands-on processes of modern manufacturing, all scaled down into one training platform.
So let's zoom in on just one of those, photolithography. Students aren't just reading about it. They are physically performing the exact step-by-step process: spin, coat, bake, expose, develop. This isn't theory. This is muscle memory. This is how you create true competence.
Okay, so let's pull the camera back out. We've got this massive market with a critical bottleneck and a super targeted solution that provides hands-on, industry-ready training.
This all leads directly to the investment imperative.
And here's the bottom line. Companies are pouring billions, with a B, into building new factories in the US. What is their single biggest nightmare? It's having that shiny, expensive facility sitting dark, losing millions a day because they can't find people to run it. Roots directly de-risks that massive investment by creating the one thing they can't build themselves, a ready-to-go pipeline of skilled local talent.
So let's just summarize the advantage here. For an investor, you're looking at a scalable solution for a massive, growing market. It attacks the #1 problem, the talent bottleneck, head-on. It aligns perfectly with national strategic goals, and at its core, it's creating the essential human infrastructure for the entire future of technology. Look, the race for semiconductor supremacy is on. Enormous bets are being placed on equipment, on materials, on new factories. But what should be crystal clear now is that the ultimate winner will be the one who secures the most critical component of all, the people. So the question for every investor is, how is your portfolio positioned for that?